What's up, friends and foes? My name's Corey,
I'm Wyatt.
and welcome back to Let's Get Nerdy in another episode of Go-Go-Godzilla, the series where we go through every single Godzilla movie in the franchise to determine what?
Which one truly is king of them all? And today we're going to go over the invasion of the Astro monster from 1966.
Actually, Wyatt, it's 1965, not 1966.
Yes.
You're thinking ahead to our next entry.
I am. I'm
but
excited.
yeah, today we're looking into Godzilla versus the Astro Monster, or I think in America it was released as Godzilla versus the Three-Headed Monster.
Yeah.
This is kind of where we're getting into the era where like there's 5 different names for every single one of these movies so far. But yeah, so we're gonna start off like we always do, Wyatt. What is your history with this film, and what are your initial thoughts of after our most recent viewing?
Yeah. So history is going to be similar to the last one that we did. This was one of those that I got in that pack when I was little. I do remember watching it when I was little. I don't remember a lot about it, but I know that I had watched it. I remembered the aliens. I remembered their little gray and black outfits and some of the scenes with the astronauts and stuff like that. And it's a little bit foggy, but I do remember watching it when I was little. I remember liking it.
Mm-hmm.
As far as initial thoughts with it, I like it. Not as much as the last one, but
Okay.
I like it. What about you? What's your history with it?
My history runs pretty deep with this one. This was part of my I kind of already mentioned it before of my 4 VHS set that I had. Of it was King Kong versus Godzilla, which we already covered, and then this one was the second oldest, and the other 2 was versus Space Godzilla and Destroya. And I watched this one a bunch, but it was actually probably my least favorite of that grouping.
Yeah.
I don't know why. As a kid, just like I think it's because it just takes a little bit. It takes a while to get to like any actual like substantial monster action.
Oh yeah.
And there's just so much more of this other like weird sci-fi stuff, kind of like very this is definitely the era of Star Trek. Well, it was a year before Star Trek. We actually looking at that.
Yeah.
Kind of era of Star Trek, the Day the Earth Stood Still kind of films, really being huge. But yeah, I liked it and I watched it a lot, but it was like again my least favorite of that like collection that I had.
Yeah.
So kind of I guess very mixed feelings about it, and I guess that in terms of initial thoughts, similar. I actually do like it better than
Really?
The King Ghidorah movie, but like I think maybe that's also just partly nostalgia, or like this one takes that extra step of ridiculousness
Yeah.
than the previous one does. But it's like 1A, 1B, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. It's it is like one side of the same coin.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the other one. It's just not my favorite one, but
Okay.
that's
Well, with that, let's go ahead and get into our deeper thoughts with it. Is there anything right off the bat that comes to mind as to when you think of this movie, or like why it's not
yeah, so I guess like what I think of I do have some nostalgia for this movie, but I think it's not enough to like make me really want to rewatch it. I think this one's kind of boring, and what I do enjoy about it is that nostalgia feel from like being little and like a lot of like the sound design I remember, and like the set pieces and stuff like that makes me feel like I'm a little kid playing with my toys, waiting for Godzilla to get on screen so I can watch that, and having that play in the background. I think is kind of where it resonates with me, is like in that state. Watching it as an adult, I don't really like it.
Okay.
I like the monster stuff, but I guess to have it like my early complaint with the movie is that it, similar to the last one, it takes, I think it was about 40 or 45 minutes before Godzilla is on screen, and it's a pretty brief couple minutes that he's on screen when he does show up. And I think, like, for me, I just don't enjoy the human characters in this one as much as I did in the last one.
Yeah.
They feel like not as goofy as the last movie. if that makes sense. And I just enjoyed the goofier characters in the lot. They are goofy.
but unintentionally so. It kind of
Yeah,
feels.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the last one they were a little bit more like they leaned into it a little bit more.
Uh huh.
I think like this one they were trying to be goofy but also more serious. I think at the same time,
Yeah.
and it just didn't for me. It didn't land as well. So
Yeah, I'll have to say largely the same. Of like, yeah, like definitely, um, they were, I think, trying to like play up a little bit more of the mystery aspect of the story and the like
yeah,
the resonance of because the the movie pretty much starts off with these astronauts going to a what they thought was a moon orbiting Jupiter turned out to be a planet known as Planet X, and so they ended up going on a voyage to visit, where they find another alien race that lives there, along with a monster known as Monster X that is revealed to be, or Monster Zero, sorry,
yeah,
there's Monster Zero that's revealed to be King Ghidorah, and their request for Earth's help. And it
yeah.
turns out that they have some dastardly uh, goals in mind.
They hit him with their trap card at
Yes,
this point.
correct,
Or
correct. And yeah, there's like again, they play up really.
oh,
Hello, hi Teddy.
this is
Uh,
Teddy.
we'll censor that. But there's definitely, I think, like a mystery aspect that they play up quite a bit. But like they also reveal the mystery pretty quickly. So there's like,
yeah,
but they're like, I don't know, like it's a weird
yeah.
push and pull. But what I will say, this movie does give us the only ever fight of Godzilla not on Earth,
Earth. Yeah,
like the only ever Godzilla fight in space, which is kind of crazy to think,
yeah.
and is kind of cool. Um,
It is cool, and then I do really like the set
mhm.
design for Planet X.
I love actually. I
Um,
think that's what this movie, outside of the monster action, I think that's what this movie does the best. Of like, there's so many full on sets that aren't just like the
yeah,
previous. All the other previous movies have been like inside like just office buildings and stuff
that is
like that.
true. Yeah.
This one is the first one that like there's several different spaceships.
Hmm.
There's like several different like sets where like fully designed rooms that they're in that
Hmm.
like are just you know fair like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so the set design I think is actually what I would say is probably the best part of this movie outside of the monster
Yeah.
action.
It is fun.
Um, you know,
There's a lot of different things to see, a lot of different places to be in and stuff, and a lot of different environments and feels and stuff. And I think, and this is just a particular viewing that we've had. I think I wish I could find like a Japanese dub of it. I don't
yeah,
know if there. I mean, I don't know if you want to call it a dub or if it's just like an original Japanese version. But this one on Max is
only has
it's only in
the
English,
English. Yeah,
and the dubbing kind of the English
it
dubbing it takes me out of it a little bit.
yeah
Um, yeah, I don't know, and that it's just odd because like I just like the tone of like some of the actors and stuff. It's just it doesn't fit like
yeah. So some of the voiceovers are like cartoonier than the other
yeah.
ones and like or more animated. I think the from what I understand Eric Adams I think is the
Oh,
American.
Glenn. The character's name was Glenn.
Yeah, Eric
Yeah,
Adams.
yeah,
I think he's the only one who's not dubbed throughout this,
right.
and it often I don't know if it's a dubbing thing or just the lines they give him. I remarked to you like it almost feels like he's having a different conversation from what everybody else is saying. Of
Yeah,
like, there's a part we're jumping around here. There's a part where they're caught sneaking around Planet X trying to figure out what these aliens are really up to, and when he ends up finding all these girls that look like his girlfriend,
yeah.
and it freaks him out. And so when the aliens are questioning him and the other astronaut, who I forget the name of the actor's name in his character in this one, but played Ogata in the first one.
I think his character name was Fuji
Fuji. Okay.
or yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
I
Excuse me,
will
sir.
I will take your word on that, or make a correction right here. Uh, but he was the one who was like, "Hey, we're just trying to figure out what you guys are really up to, what you guys are really doing." And then
And then
what does he say? Glenn
Glenn's
say?
like, he's like, hey, oh, by the way, why do all your girls look the same here?
Yeah.
And then the controller of Planet X is just like, I think he'll find they're all attractive.
It,
And
yeah. He's
then
like, well, yeah, beauty's more than is more
Yeah,
than skin deep. It's a matter of the heart.
yeah. It's like this. Like he hits this like real like intense like smolder, and he's like, it's beauty's on the. It's not just on the outside; it's on the inside too.
Yeah.
And then the controller is just like, we're not going to argue about that. Like,
Yeah. It's like, wait, were you
well,
not here the last 5 minutes?
yeah, it was just a very odd scene,
Yeah.
but it was funny.
It was really
I don't
funny.
think it was meant to be funny, but it's funny.
That's the thing. I think this is kind of the first of Godzilla entering the goofy era. We officially left
Oh
the
yes,
like. There's no horror or
yeah,
like you know. There's no horror aspect. Nothing of like the vibes of the first movie are very much gone,
they're
despite having a returning actor from the first movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's mostly evident right away in the fight that we actually get on Planet X between Godzilla Rodan versus King Ghidorah, where like they beat King Ghidorah. It turns out they don't that King Ghidorah is under the control of the people from Planet X.
Yeah,
And then you get probably one of the most infamous moments in Godzilla history.
yeah.
Everyone has seen the GIF of Godzilla's salvatory dance of jumping and
his victory dance.
yep,
Yeah,
yep,
but that scene is also weird too. Like, cause like the controller has like the worst timing ever. Cause the fight has just started, and Godzilla's hiding behind like a boulder, like peeking out and shooting at Ghidorah, and Ghidorah shooting back at him, and he's already like, nah, we won.
Yeah.
Thanks, we won. This is
You
over
guys have
already.
helped us. Yeah.
He met his match. World saves. Fight's been going for
Yeah.
all of like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But I don't. That's that guy is the controller is just he's an odd duck. That one.
Yeah, almost like he's alien.
Whoa, almost. I thought they were elves with their little pointy elf shoes.
Yeah, which I did remark to you about their costumes. The costumes are dumb looking. They're not cool at all.
They're not cool.
But for some reason, as a kid, and it could be because I was watching this a lot around the time that the X-Men movies also were coming out, I wanted those straight across glasses so much as a kid. I thought those glasses are cool.
They look like their costume looks like something that you would wear to a rave or like
that
you would get at like a Halloween store, like a discount Halloween store.
Yeah.
From like 2003.
Yeah, like Party America. Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of polyester.
I enjoy these aliens though.
Yeah.
As goofy as they are, they're so dumb.
Yeah.
Like for being intergalactic beings that can travel between Jupiter and Earth within a matter of I don't know, like hours. I think.
Yeah. These guys are going pretty quick between planets.
Yeah, super fast.
There's like for there being like a large ass asteroid belt.
Yeah,
and millions of miles just to get into our orbit. Yeah,
they're hitting the light speed button.
Yeah,
immediately.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they're so intelligent in some ways, and then in some ways like they're just defeated by like sound, and they soundproofed.
Yeah,
the jail cell in the house where they were keeping the prisoners. But then they didn't soundproof
like headphones or anything like that.
Yeah, they didn't soundproof their helmets or their ships or literally anything else. Just the one room.
So, getting into the whole sound part of this with these guys is like that has to be one of my least favorite solutions in a movie I've ever watched.
Yeah.
Because I completely forgot about this. Like I remember them like walking around their ship and like running down the hallways and stuff like that, and then running into like the clones and all that. I remember all that. I completely forgot that like the solution is just this loud ass noise because they kind of tease it. This scientist that for some reason Glenn and Fuji don't like, or they got beef with him for some reason.
Well, because he's dating Fuji's sister.
And
he thinks he's a failure because he's just like a goofy inventor that like pushes up his glasses and like is like won't look him in the eye or anything, So.
Which, by the way, like his invention he made, it just makes noise.
It just makes noise.
So I don't think Fuji's in the wrong for that one.
No, I don't think so either.
Like, you invented something that we can, like you invented Dumb and Dumber technology.
Yeah, pretty much. But it just so happens to save the Earth.
Yeah, it just happens to save the Earth. which sucks because the last like 30 minutes of this movie, they're firing these noise cannons at these. So like for the last 30 minutes, you get like it feels like you get 30 minutes of Jim Carrey yelling in the side of your ear while you're just trying to ride in a van.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Yeah, it's just the noise cannons and then like missiles and tanks firing and people, well, aliens like yelling about shit.
Yeah.
I don't know how my parents let me play these movies on repeat.
No,
Because my God,
I think my parents did it so they could leave the house. And there was so much noise that I was distracted, and I wouldn't notice that I was like in a room by myself. But
yeah, because oh my God, it is so annoying. It's so obnoxious and loud.
Yeah,
But and it's kind of goofy. It's a very goofy like. That's how we're gonna beat him.
Yeah,
Which
I mean,
we've hit on.
Yeah, that's what I will say. What I like about the vibes of this movie is like it's very much like a B sci-fi, like old school vibe through and through.
Yeah.
That it's just a lot of classic fun. And then for what it's worth, like the monster action feels like we get a lot less of it than we have in previous movies. But the action we get is a lot of fun. Like the fight on the the fight on the planet where like you have Rodan dropping rocks on King Ghidorah is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then when they turns out that they bring King Ghidorah and Godzilla and Rodan back to Earth under mind control, which that's revealed that they're controlling these monsters. The rampages are actually genuinely a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
of, like
really
seeing
good.
especially King Ghidorah have a full on rampage scene because like we didn't really in the last one, like to my memory, get a full on rampage from King Ghidorah.
I mean, he started like kicking some shit around, and then Mothra tried to beat him up and got his ass whooped. But yeah, this is our first like real King Ghidorah attack rampage type scene. So.
Yeah.
And like you're right. The rampage scenes are fun.
Yeah,
they do a lot with like perspective with this one, and like the way that like Godzilla, you see a lot of like Godzilla's foot stomping on things and crushing things, and you see his tail like come through a window, but it's like you're looking from almost from the building itself, like you're on ground level.
Yeah.
So it felt like in King Kong, like the 33 King Kong, the original one, when like his foot is stepping on people and stepping on buildings and shit.
Yeah.
It felt like that a lot, which was cool. The rampage scenes are cool. The monster stuff is all great. It's all fun. Yeah. There's never a time when they're on screen that's boring, other than when they're just kind of sitting there waiting to like attack.
Yeah.
Because they're under the mind control,
Yeah.
But the fights are all fun.
Yeah.
The fights are fantastic, actually.
The fight is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
From the moment it starts, like to just jump to the final monster fight. They eventually destroy the alien ship, and kind of a crazy moment too, as like that's kind of cool to watch because that set starts like burning from the inside out, and like that was for again, set design, production design was like a really cool moment there. And then once the aliens are destroyed or whatever, that's when the mind control goes away, and like the monsters are like just laying on the ground, and it's fucking awesome because Godzilla is the first one to get up, and he literally just kicks a rock on a King Ghidorah and says, "Get up, we're fucking fighting." And then we just get a legitimate fucking fight, and he gets Rodan up. And we had talked while watching this movie together again, saying, "Man, Rodan is a bitch."
Yeah.
And then I made a realization. I haven't said this to you.
Okay.
We're misunderstanding Rodan's class because Rodan's a support character.
Yeah.
So that's why he's never he's not going to be in the shit because he's not supposed to be. That's why on the planet, all he was doing was flying around, dropping rocks.
Yeah.
That's why on this one, he let Godzilla get in there, and we get a legitimate Ollie shuffle from Godzilla where he's like,
it's
legit,
so good.
It looks like I look in the mirror before work.
He's like he's bobbing and weaving, and like he's hitting the left and hitting the right, and then like he's hitting the breath and dodging and like, throwing another left, and like his feet are like
dude,
it's so good.
We need the fucking Rocky music starting
so
up in this one, dude. It's awesome. And then you get like as soon as we call Rodan a bitch because he's not in the fight,
like immediately
we get the greatest Rodan moment of like he picks up Godzilla by his shoulders and drags Godzilla into Ghidorah to where he just tackles him into the fucking ocean, and it's like it was a moment that we legitimately both were like, oh,
like he doesn't just tackle him into the ocean, like he tackles him off a cliff. They tumble down the cliff and into the ocean. Yeah, it was Rodan did a great job with that one. I don't know if it was planned or if Godzilla was just suddenly flying down a mountain. You know, like I don't know if he like communicated that to Godzilla or if he just picked his ass up and threw him.
It seemed like he just threw him,
but
which
is hilarious to me.
It seemed like Godzilla was down for the ride though. You know,
I don't think he had much of a choice.
I will say that like I think this whole last fight is what trumps is what makes this movie for me, and I think saves it and really does make it a really fun, like the whole package. I think is ultimately a fun package of like just how ridiculous it is. There are points where you start to kind of like look at your phone maybe a little bit more, or you're ready for the next beat. But for the most part, this is like this fucking last fight in particular, like especially because like I think this is when like the atomic breath really starts looking a lot cooler too, because it looks a lot more blue, and they're starting to light up his scales a lot more. It's just like awesome.
Yeah, no, the fight's definitely. I mean, this is it saves the movie. I mean, the movie is still it's a fun B movie, like you said. I mean, it's a fun 60s sci-fi. Like it has a nice charm to it. But the fight makes it. It saves it. I mean, for me, it makes it really enjoyable, and like it's the whole movie. Like I think it makes the whole movie kind of drag a little bit more because like you want to get to that point, and it takes so long to get to that point.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it's still a fun movie. I do enjoy this movie, so
yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and get to the wrap up thoughts and get this train moving on out of here. And I do want to say I have some beef with the tanks in this movie. Because there's like near the end, you know, they're enacting the final plan and they're shooting off the sound cannons, the obnoxious sound cannons and stuff, and then the tanks roll up on this hillside and they're shooting at this house that's like in a valley where like the aliens had their headquarters or whatever on Earth and stuff. And these guys shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot, and they never hit that house.
Yeah.
Like they hit left and right and high and low, but they never once hit this house. The house doesn't move. It doesn't have legs. It doesn't move.
Yeah.
They're not that far from it. How do they keep missing it? That's my beef. That's all. I mean, any more final thoughts with the movie for me, I guess, would be I think it's worth watching. It does have some nice charm to it. I love like the 60s like space sci-fi type feel. I think this movie that probably contributed more to my interest in that sci-fi space aesthetic than I have realized, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
And I really do appreciate this movie. It's not my favorite. But I like it. I think you should check it out if you haven't seen it. That's my final thoughts. What do you got?
A lot of similar thoughts. One shot I did want to give to you, and I talked to you about this while we were watching, is if anybody's a rap fan of rap music.
Oh yeah.
There's anybody who knows like there's this rapper MF Doom who has an album under the name of King Ghidorah called "Take Me to Your Leader," where he samples particularly this movie a lot. So like, there's so many sound bites in this movie that I just heard that made me think of that album. So I wanted to give that a shout out. It's a great album if you haven't heard it.
I gotta check that out too.
It's really good. But yeah, like final thoughts is like, again, it definitely, you know, I know I said like nostalgically, it was my least favorite what I've had, but there was still a lot of nostalgia I had for this movie. And it turns out like there's still a lot of fun to be had with this movie. I think it's, I would actually, this would be like, if you're asking me for like a ridiculous Godzilla movie that's just like silly and like you can just throw on, this is probably going to be one of my top ones. To be like, oh, this is the one to like kind of laugh at a little bit, if I'm being honest.
Oh yeah.
And you know, And I do love, and again, like we talked about, like with King Ghidorah, like we said, King Ghidorah and Mothra, like this, you're starting to see a lot of the tropes coming in that
Mm-hmm.
we know later in the later movies are tropes, such as the sound cannon. Although I thought it was annoying, I think it's a very cool, precursor because like this is to like the weird specialized weapons they start bringing in
Oh, yeah.
later, like
Yeah.
I think they're called the masers. Is that what they call them?
I don't remember
Okay,
exactly.
we'll have to
but,
see
yeah.
when we get there.
We'll see when we get there.
But yeah, you start to see them bring more like the ridiculously specialized technology,
Yeah.
and it's just a lot of fun. And this is just it's a classic Godzilla movie for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
definitely.
And now, before we get out of here, we're going to do what we do with all these videos so far is we're going to rank this. Rank this. We're going to rank this movie. Currently, if you're unaware, the ranking is sitting at number 10, Godzilla Raids Again. At number 9, Godzilla vs. King Kong, the 1962 version.
Mm-hmm.
At number 8, that is Godzilla vs. Kong, the 2021 version. Number 7, we have Godzilla 2014. At number 6, we have King Ghidorah, Three-Headed Monster.
Yes.
And at number 5, that means we have GXK, the New Empire. And then at number 4, we still have the original Godzilla, 1954.
Mm-hmm.
We have at number 3, Godzilla versus Mothra. Number 2, we have Godzilla, King of the Monsters, the 2019 version. And at number 1, Wyatt, what do we have?
Godzilla -1.
And Wyatt, let me ask you, start us off. Is Godzilla -1 getting knocked off its perch today?
Fuck no, it's staying up there. Staying all the way
Yep.
at the tippy top.
Yep. So where on this ranking do you think this lies then? Because I have a pretty good idea, but I might need to talk through it a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and put this one. I'm gonna put it at. Oh, I'm flopping between two different spots.
Here, do you have a number in mind?
Yes.
I will say my number.
Okay.
So let's say that's.
Oh, okay.
3, 2, 1, same time.
Yeah,
So
okay.
3, 2, 1, number 9.
9.
All right.
That works.
Okay. Yeah, I think
that works.
So for my reasoning, thinking about it so much is like, just looking at the list, like, Ghidorah, I thought was a really, the monster action one wasn't as good, but the human was like kind of fun, and it was really cool seeing the first ever like monster rumble,
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the inclusion of Mothra, which I actually thought, like, because so if nobody, kind of fun fact here to throw in at the last moment, Mothra was supposed to be in this one, but because all the sets and all the costumes and stuff like that, the budget started kind of getting out of hand, so they had to nix Mothra. Just it's, to me, there's not as much as I look back on fondly or like remember outrightly as I do, like, let's say like Godzilla versus King Kong, or even Godzilla versus Kong, that fight in Hong Kong. Like if we're talking about like a fight that carries one fight that carries the whole movie. Unfortunately, yeah, Godzilla versus Kong I think has the better of those two fights.
Yeah.
Granted, because of technology.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just number 9, right below the original King Kong, Godzilla vs. King Kong, but above Raids Again.
Yeah.
Because at least I was entertained with this movie.
Yeah. I mean, I think my thoughts would be pretty similar. I look forward to watching the Godzilla vs. King Kong movie, the original one, just more than this one. I mean, it's kind of, I was gonna put it in a different spot, but I was gonna put it where Raids Again is now, but.
So you're gonna put Raids Again above this?
No, God, that's what I was like initially. Initially, I was like, maybe I'll just throw it at the bottom. But the more I thought about it, I remembered that Raids Again is a thing.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. Like, I would definitely watch this one again.
Yeah.
Like, Raids Again, once we get past this series, if I'm being honest, I don't know if I'm ever going to watch Raids Again.
I don't really ever want to watch it again, ever. But no, I think it fits nicely in number 9. I just enjoy the King Kong movie more, and I think it's just a little bit funner of a movie,
Yeah.
But this is not one that I'll probably seek out too often, so I think I'm pretty good with it being at 9.
Absolutely. So And why? What's our current ranking sitting at?
So currently we are at number 11, being Godzilla Raids Again. Number 10 is Invasion of the Astro Monster. 9 is Godzilla vs. King Kong from 1962. 8 is Godzilla vs. Kong from 2021. 7 is Godzilla 2014. 6 is Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. 5 is GXK. 4 is the original Godzilla from 1954. 3 is Mothra vs. Godzilla. Number 2 is Godzilla King of the Monsters from 2019. And then number 1, still, of course, is Godzilla Minus One.
Absolutely. So with that, the series rolls on to our next video. We are covering, I believe it's Godzilla versus Ibera. Is that it?
Ibera?
Ebera?
The sea monster.
Yeah. Over here is Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, which I'm very excited because I've never seen before. So I'm very much looking forward to that one.
I'm so excited for
So
this one.
please join us for that. Like and subscribe. Until then, I've been Corey.
I'm Wyatt.
And we got to get back to nerding out.
Thanks, guys.